The Vixtar Imperium sent a message to Earth. It was formal, written in diplomatic language, but the meaning was clear. They wanted to discuss a ceasefire. General Jiho read the message and smiled. Then he deleted it without responding. "Sir, shouldn't we at least reply?" asked Lieutenant Sora. "No," Jiho said. "They declared war without asking. They threatened to eliminate our species. Now they want to talk? Let them wait. Let them worry. We're not done teaching them lessons." Admiral Minji entered the command center. "The Titan fleet is ready, General. All 3 ships fully operational." Jiho nodded. This was it. The moment humanity revealed its ace. For 200 years, in secret facilities scattered across the solar system, human engineers had built something extraordinary, something that would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. The Titan-class dreadnoughts. Fleet Admiral Do-hyun stood on the bridge of the first Titan, the Busan's Vengeance. The ship was massive, 5 kilometers long, with armor plating that could withstand direct hits from nuclear weapons. Its reactors generated more power than entire cities. Its weapons could reduce planets to ash. But the most impressive feature was its jump drive. Using theoretical physics that humanity had spent a century and a half perfecting, the Titans could jump anywhere in the galaxy within hours. No other species had this technology. The Vixtar's fastest ships took days to cross the same distance. "Captain Yunji, status report," Do-hyun said. Captain Yunji commanded the Busan's Vengeance. She was young but brilliant, hand-picked to lead humanity's most powerful warship. "All systems green, Admiral. Jump drive charged. We can depart on your order." "Then let's show the Empire what real power looks like," Do-hyun said. "Set course for Vix Prime, the throne world itself." The bridge crew exchanged glances. They were about to jump directly into the heart of enemy territory, to the most heavily defended system in the Empire. It was insane. It was dangerous. It was perfect. "Jumping in 3, 2, 1, Yunji said. Space twisted around the Busan's Vengeance. The ship disappeared from Earth's orbit and reappeared instantly above Vix Prime, the Vixtar throne world. Every sensor in the system immediately went crazy. On the planet's surface, alarms blared across the Imperial Palace. Defense satellites activated. Hundreds of defensive platforms locked weapons on the massive human ship. The Imperial Guard scrambled their fleets. High Counselor Vexirus rushed to the command center beneath the palace. "What's happening? Are we under attack?" "A human ship just appeared in orbit," her military advisor stammered. "It jumped directly to our throne world. We don't know how." "One ship?" Vexirus looked at the display. The human vessel was enormous, dwarfing anything the Empire had ever built. "That's impossible. Nothing that large should be able to jump that far. And yet it's here," Admiral Thexal said quietly. "They're not attacking. They're just sitting there." On the Busan's Vengeance, Captain Yunji monitored the Vixtar response. Defensive platforms were powering up. Warships were moving to intercept. "Good. Let them see." "Admiral, they're charging weapons," her tactical officer reported. "Activate shields," Do-hyun ordered calmly. "But do not return fire. We're not here to destroy. We're here to send a message." The Vixtar opened fire. Hundreds of weapons struck the Titan's shields. Energy beams, missiles, plasma bolts. Everything the Empire could throw at one target. The shields didn't even flicker. "Their weapons aren't penetrating our shields," Yunji reported. "Not even close." "Good," Do-hyun said. "Now show them our teeth. Target one of their moons. Fire main cannon." The Busan's Vengeance had a weapon that no other ship in the galaxy possessed. A particle beam cannon that drew power directly from the ship's reactor. It could punch through a planet's crust. The cannon fired. A beam of pure energy crossed space in an instant. It struck one of Vix Prime's 3 moons. Not the inhabited ones, but a barren rock used for mining. The beam carved through the moon like it was made of paper, going completely through and leaving a hole 5 kilometers wide. On Vix Prime, billions watched in horror as their moon was pierced. The message was clear. If humans wanted to, they could do that to the planet itself. Vexirus stared at the display, her 4 eyes wide with shock. "They could destroy our world." "Yes," Thexal said. "And they're not doing it. They're showing restraint. They want us to know they could kill us all, but they're choosing not to." A communication came through from the human ship. Captain Yunji's face appeared on every screen in the Imperial Command Center. "High Counselor Vexirus," Yunji said calmly. "You declared war on humanity. You threatened our extinction. We could return the favor right now. 1 shot and your palace is gone. 3 shots and your planet is uninhabitable. She paused, letting that sink in. But we won't. Because unlike your empire, we don't wage wars of extinction. We wage wars of education. You've learned that you can't defeat us militarily. You've learned that your supply lines are vulnerable. You've learned that we can strike anywhere, anytime. Yunji leaned forward. Now learn this. We can reach your homeworld whenever we want. Your defenses mean nothing. Your fleet can't stop us. If we wanted you dead, you'd already be dead. She straightened. We're leaving now. Think about what you've seen. Think about what we could do. And when you're ready to surrender, send a message to Earth. We'll be waiting. The Busan's vengeance jumped away, vanishing as suddenly as it had appeared. The Imperial Command Center was silent. Every counselor, every military officer, every advisor understood what had just happened. The humans had demonstrated total dominance. They'd shown that the Vixtar throne world, protected by thousands of years of defensive construction, was helpless against them. They have 3 of those ships, Thexal said quietly. Our intelligence confirmed it. 3 Titan-class dreadnoughts, each one powerful enough to destroy fleets, fast enough to appear anywhere, and we have no counter for them. Vexirus felt the weight of 50,000 years of imperial pride crumble. What do? We surrender, said Counselor Rakthos, the one who'd argued most strongly for continuing the war, before they decide to actually use those weapons. Back on Earth, General Jiho received the report of the Titan's successful mission. But he wasn't celebrating. Not yet. They'll try to negotiate, he said to Admiral Minji. They'll want favorable terms, try to save face. What will you offer them? Nothing, Jiho said flatly. They attacked us unprovoked. They threatened genocide. The terms are simple. Complete surrender or we take the Titans back to Vix Prime, and this time we don't just shoot moons. That's harsh, Minji said. War is harsh, Jiho replied. But here's what they don't understand yet. We're not doing this out of cruelty. We're doing this to save lives. How do you figure? Jiho pulled up a star map. The galaxy has dozens of other empires, hundreds of species. If we let the Vixtar surrender with dignity, those other empires will think humanity is soft. They'll think they can try what the Vixtar tried. But if we make an example, if we force the most powerful empire in the galaxy to unconditional surrender, every other species will think twice before attacking Earth. You're creating deterrence, Minji realized. Exactly, Jiho said. 1 harsh peace now prevents a dozen future wars. 3 days later, the Vixtar sent another message. This time it was different. High Counselor Vexirus appeared on screen and she looked defeated. People of Earth, she said formally, the Vixtar Imperium wishes to end hostilities. We acknowledge that we underestimated your species and your capabilities. We are prepared to discuss terms of peace. She paused and Jiho could see how much the next words cost her pride. What are your demands? Chief Diplomat Yoon took the call. She was Earth's best negotiator, skilled and ruthless. The terms are simple, High Counselor. Complete withdrawal of all Vixtar forces from 50 border systems. Full reparations for the cost of this war. An embassy on Earth with ambassadors who will learn about human culture and history. And most importantly, a public acknowledgement that the Vixtar Imperium wrongly attacked humanity and accepts responsibility for this war. Those terms are... Vexirus started to protest. Non-negotiable. Yun finished. You have 24 hours to accept. If you refuse, the Titan fleet will return to Vix Prime. And this time Captain Yunji won't shoot moons. The communication ended. On Vix Prime, the High Council convened emergency session. The debate was short. They had no choice. The humans had complete military superiority. Continuing the war would only result in more losses, possibly including their homeworld. We accept, Vexirus finally said. Send the message. The Vixtar Imperium surrenders. For the first time in 50,000 years, the Empire had lost a war, and they'd lost it to a species that had seemed primitive just months ago. The news spread across the galaxy within days. The Vixtar Imperium, the oldest and most powerful empire, had been defeated by humans. Species that had feared the Empire celebrated. Those that had considered attacking Earth reconsidered. And humanity? They'd proven something important. They weren't invincible. They weren't the strongest species in the galaxy. But they were the most prepared, the most adaptable, and the most willing to do whatever it took to survive. General Jiho stood in the command center, watching news broadcasts from dozens of worlds. Some praised humanity, some feared them. All respected them. We did it, Lieutenant Sora said quietly. We won. The Empire's going to be hungry soon. All across Vixtar space, High Counselor Vexirus watched the reports come in with growing horror. In just 3 weeks, the Vixtar Empire had lost 70 supply stations, 15 communication hubs, and countless shipments of fuel and weapons. The 4th Battle Armada still hadn't left for Earth because they couldn't get their logistics in order. Worse, the humans hadn't attacked with fleets. They appeared like ghosts, struck hard, and vanished before reinforcements arrived. The Empire's military, designed for large-scale battles, couldn't adapt. How is this possible? Vexirus demanded. We outnumber them 1,000,000 to 1. We control 10,000 star systems. They have one planet. They're not fighting the way we expected, explained Admiral Thexol, who'd been promoted to military advisor after surviving the first battle. They attack our supply lines, our communications, our morale. They're making us waste resources defending everything while they strike where we're weakest. Then we defend everything better, another counselor suggested. We can't, Thexol said quietly. We don't have enough ships to guard every supply station, every communication hub, every mining operation. The humans are forcing us to spread thin, and while we chase them, they're doing something worse. He activated a hologram. It showed broadcasts being sent throughout Vixtar space. Human faces speaking in every Imperial language. What is this? Vexirus asked. Psychological warfare, Thexol said. They're broadcasting to our colonies, our soldiers, our civilians. Watch. The hologram showed one of the broadcasts. A human woman with dark hair spoke calmly to the camera. This was Major Jiwan, head of humanity's psychological operations. People of the Vixtar Empire, she said in perfect Vixtar language. Your leaders told you this would be an easy war. They told you humanity was primitive. Were they right? The broadcast showed footage of burning Vixtar ships, exploding stations, fleeing fleets. Your sons and daughters are dying, Jiwan continued. Not for defense of your worlds. Not for honor. They're dying because your leader's pride was hurt. How many more will you sacrifice? When will enough be enough? The broadcast ended. Thexol looked at the council. This is playing on every frequency we use. We can't block it. They've hacked our communication network. Our own soldiers are watching this. Our colonies are seeing their fleets destroyed. Some outer worlds are already questioning whether this war is worth it. Vexirus felt something she'd never experienced before. Fear. Not for herself, but for the Empire. In 50,000 years, they'd never faced an enemy like this. Can we win? She asked quietly. Not the way we're fighting now, Thexol admitted. We need to change tactics. Fight like they fight. The Empire doesn't use underhanded tactics, said Counselor Rakthos, offended. We fight with honor. Then we'll lose with honor, Thexol snapped. These humans don't care about honor. They care about winning. On Earth, General Jiho reviewed the latest intelligence reports with satisfaction. The Empire was in chaos. Supply lines disrupted. Communications compromised. Morale falling. Now it was time for the next phase. Admiral Siak, you're clear for Operation Stranglehold, Jiho said. Admiral Siak nodded. He commanded Earth's fast attack fleet, 50 ships designed for speed and firepower. His target wasn't military bases. It was the Empire's industrial heart. All ships, this is Admiral Siak, he broadcast to his fleet. We jump in 15 minutes. Remember your training. Hit fast, hit hard, and get out. The Empire thinks their industrial worlds are safe. Let's prove them wrong. The fleet jumped into faster-than-light travel. They emerged in a Vixtar industrial system, far from the front lines. The planet below was covered in factories, refineries, and shipyards. This single world produced weapons and ships for 100 systems. All wings, begin your attack runs, Sok ordered. Fighters, clear the orbital defenses. Frigates, hit the shipyards. Destroyers, you're on the refineries. The Vixtar defenders scrambled to respond. But they were security forces, not frontline military. They'd never expected an attack this deep in Imperial space. By the time they organized a defense, half their orbital facilities were burning. Commander Ariam led her fighter squadron through the chaos. She'd been a competitive pilot before the war, racing through asteroid fields for sport. Now she put those skills to military use. Gold Squadron on me, she called. We're taking out that orbital platform. Her fighters danced through defensive fire, moving too fast for the alien targeting computers. They launched missiles at a massive weapons platform. It exploded in a satisfying fireball. Platform destroyed, Ariam reported, moving to next target. All across the system, human ships wreaked havoc. They didn't try to occupy or hold territory. They just destroyed factories, refineries, shipyards, storage depots, everything that fed the Empire's war machine. After 2 hours, Admiral Siak gave the order to retreat. His fleet jumped away before the Vixtar military could send reinforcements. Behind them, the industrial system burned. It would take years to rebuild what they'd destroyed in one afternoon. Target eliminated, Siak reported to Earth Command.
0 casualties on our side.
Estimated production loss for the Empire, 30% in this sector. Excellent work, Jiho replied. Rest and rearm. I have 6 more targets for you. General Kiwu's Ghost Battalion had a different mission. They didn't destroy facilities. They captured them. The Vixtar mining station orbited a resource-rich asteroid. It processed rare metals used in shield generators and weapon systems. The Empire needed these metals desperately, especially now that their supply lines were disrupted. Kiwu's team approached in a captured Vixtar transport. The station's security thought they were a routine supply ship. Docking granted, the station controller said. Bay 7, the transport docked, but instead of supplies, 20 Ghost Battalion soldiers poured out. The station's security forces responded, but they were miners and technicians with basic weapons. Against trained special forces in advanced combat armor, they didn't stand a chance. Station secured, Kiwu reported. No casualties. 40 Vixtar prisoners. Good, Jiho's voice came through his radio. Hold that position. We're sending mining teams. Let's see how the Empire likes it when we control their resources. Within days, human mining operations were running on captured Vixtar equipment. The metals that should have gone to the Empire now went to Earth's factories. And the captured Vixtar workers? They were treated well, fed, given medical care, and shown human broadcasts. Major Jiwan made sure each prisoner received good treatment. Not out of kindness alone, but because she knew they'd eventually be exchanged or released. And when they returned to the Empire, they'd tell stories about how humanity treated prisoners better than the Empire treated its own soldiers. Psychological warfare at its finest. The Vixtar Empire was beginning to panic. High Counselor Vexirus called an emergency session. The chamber was tense. Reports of losses came in daily. Industrial output was down 40%. Supply lines were in chaos. 3 outer colonies had declared neutrality, refusing to send more troops. We need to end this war, Vexirus said. Before it destroys us, you mean surrender? Counselor Rakthos asked, shocked. The Empire has never surrendered. We've never faced an enemy like this, Vexirus replied. They're not trying to conquer us. They're trying to break us. And it's working. We still have the 4th Battle Armada, Thexal said. 5,000 ships. If we can get them to Earth, they'll be destroyed like the First Fleet, another counselor interrupted. These humans are too well prepared. We need a different approach. What approach? Vexirus demanded. What can we do that we haven't tried? The chamber fell silent. No one had an answer. The Empire had relied on overwhelming military might for 50,000 years. They'd never developed the tactics needed to fight a guerrilla war. They didn't know how to counter psychological operations. They couldn't adapt fast enough. Meanwhile, humanity was just getting started. General Jiho looked at the strategic map. Red markers showed every successful operation. Supply stations destroyed. Industrial centers crippled. Resources captured. The Empire was bleeding from 1,000 cuts. They'll offer a ceasefire soon, Admiral Minji said. Our intelligence suggests their High Council is divided. Good, Jiho replied. But we're not accepting any ceasefire. Not yet, sir. They need to understand something, Jiho said, his voice hard. They declared war on us. They threatened to eliminate our entire species. A ceasefire means we both stop fighting. I want them to surrender. Minji smiled. You're going to make them beg. No, Jiho corrected. I'm going to make them understand that attacking Earth was the worst mistake in their empire's history. And I know exactly how to do it. He touched the map, highlighting a specific system. This is where we show them what humanity is really capable of. The Vixtar throne world, the heart of their empire, the planet they thought was untouchable. It was about to get visitors, and when those visitors arrived, the Empire would finally understand why General Jiho had laughed when they declared war. Because humanity had been preparing for this moment for 2 centuries, and now they were ready to finish what the Empire had started. The Vixtar Imperial Palace sat on a planet called Vix Prime, at the heart of an empire spanning 10,000 star systems. Its towers reached into the clouds, built from materials that would last 1,000,000 years. The empire had stood here for 50,000 years without defeat. Today, that record was broken. Warlord Thexal knelt before the High Council. His uniform was burned and torn. Dried blood marked his face. Of the 300 ships under his command, he'd brought back 13. The other officers who'd survived the battle knelt beside him, heads bowed. High Counselor Vexirus looked down from her throne, her 4 eyes cold with fury. Around her, the other counselors whispered among themselves. This was unprecedented. The Vixtar military had just suffered its worst defeat in recorded history against a species that hadn't even left its own star system. Explain, Vexirus said, her voice echoing through the chamber. How did you lose an entire battle fleet to primitives? Thexal raised his head. They weren't primitives, Counselor. They were ready for us. They're weapons. We've never seen anything like them. Kinetic weapons moving at near light speed. Targeting systems that never missed. Defense networks that covered their entire moon. Impossible, said Counselor Rakthos. Our intelligence showed divided nations, chemical rockets, and primitive nuclear weapons. You're telling me they suddenly developed advanced technology? No, sir, said another surviving officer, Captain Jolmar. They've had this technology for a long time. They hid it. They were waiting. The chamber fell silent. Every counselor understood what that meant. The humans had known the Empire existed. They'd seen Vixtar expansion and prepared for war. This wasn't first contact gone wrong. This was a trap, and the Empire had walked right into it. How many species have done this before? Vexirus asked quietly. How many have seen us coming and prepared? None, Counselor, Thexal admitted. No species has ever been this militaristic. Then we underestimated them, Vexirus said. A mistake we won't repeat. Call the 4th Battle Armada, 5,000 ships. We'll crush these humans with overwhelming force. Far from Vix Prime, on Earth, General Jiho sat in a strategy meeting with the world's military leaders. The main screen showed a map of Vixtar space updated with the latest intelligence. They'd been monitoring the Empire for 200 years. They knew where the major bases were, the supply lines, the communication hubs. They'll come back stronger, said Admiral Minji. Our intelligence suggests they'll send at least 5,000 ships. Let them, Jiho replied. We can handle 5,000. But we're not going to wait here for them. Director Nari, present the counteroffensive. Strategic Director Nari stood. She was small and quiet, but her mind was brilliant. She'd spent 30 years planning for this war. The Empire thinks in terms of direct military confrontation, she said. Large fleets, orbital bombardment, overwhelming force. That's how they've won every war. We're going to fight differently. She touched the screen. Red lines appeared, marking targets deep in Vixtar space. We're going to hit them where they're weak. Supply lines, communication networks, industrial centers. We're going to make them afraid to leave their own planets. And we're going to use something they've never encountered. What's that? Asked a general from the Asian Defense Coalition. Nari smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. Asymmetric warfare. Guerrilla tactics. Psychological operations. Everything humanity learned from thousands of years of fighting each other. The Vixtar fight like honorable warriors. We're going to fight like humans. The plan was approved. Within hours, human ships began launching from hidden bases throughout the solar system. Lieutenant Commander Taeyang commanded the stealth frigate Soul's Shadow. His ship was painted black, covered in materials that absorbed sensor beams and equipped with quantum masking technology that made it invisible to conventional detection. It was based on submarine technology from Earth's old wars adapted for space. We're approaching the first target, said his navigation officer. Vixtar Communication Hub 7, Taeyang nodded. The hub was a massive station that relayed military communications for an entire sector. Taking it out would blind dozens of Vixtar fleets. Take us in slow, he ordered. Stay in the sensor shadow of that asteroid field. Soul's Shadow drifted through space like a ghost. Vixtar patrol ships passed within 1,000 kilometers and detected nothing. The station's defenses never activated. As far as the aliens knew, they were alone. That changed when Taeyang's ship launched its payload. Cyber warfare packages, each one containing AI programs developed by Earth's best hackers. They latched onto the station's communication arrays and began infiltrating. Package deployed, said the tactical officer. It'll take about 30 minutes to fully infiltrate their systems. Then we wait, Taiyang said. Silent running. Don't even breathe loud. 30 minutes later, the virus activated. It didn't destroy the station. That would be too obvious. Instead, it began changing things. Fleet coordinates were shifted by small amounts. Supply requests were duplicated or deleted. Orders were reworded slightly, changing meanings. Nothing dramatic. Just enough to cause confusion. Throughout Vixtar space, 3 other communication hubs suffered the same fate. Within days, the Empire's military network began experiencing problems. Ships arrived at the wrong coordinates. Supply shipments went to the wrong bases. Admirals received orders that contradicted previous commands. The chaos was subtle but spreading. While Taeyang's mission succeeded, Captain Somin prepared for her own strike. She commanded the heavy carrier Inchen's Fury, and it was unlike anything the Vixtar had encountered. It didn't carry fighters. It carried drones, thousands of drones. "Ma'am, we're in position outside the Vixtar supply depot," said her executive officer. Somin looked at the tactical display. The depot was heavily guarded by 20 warships. In a fair fight, her single carrier would be destroyed. Good thing she wasn't planning a fair fight. "Launch all drones," she ordered. Pattern Delta 7. The carrier's bays opened. Drones poured out like angry bees from a hive. Each one was small, about the size of a car, but packed with weapons and AI programming. They'd been designed based on centuries of aerial warfare, learning from every fighter pilot and dogfight in human history. The drones didn't attack as individuals. They worked as a swarm, coordinating in real time. When the Vixtar ships opened fire, the drones scattered, making themselves hard targets. Then they regrouped and struck from multiple angles. The Vixtar crews were brave and skilled, but they were trained to fight other large warships. They didn't know how to fight a swarm of small, intelligent machines that adapted to every defensive tactic. One by one, the Vixtar ships fell. Their shields couldn't cover every angle. Their weapons couldn't track every target. The drones found weak points, exploited them, and destroyed their targets. When it was over, the supply depot was in ruins. The Inchen's Fury hadn't fired a single shot from its own weapons. Somin recalled her drones and jumped away before reinforcements could arrive. "Target destroyed," she reported to Earth Command. Moving to next objective. Back in Vixtar space, the 4th Battle Armada prepared to depart for Earth. 5,000 warships, the pride of the Empire. Warlord Venkar, who commanded the Armada, was confident. The humans had won one battle through trickery. Now they would face the full might of the Imperium. But as his fleet prepared to jump, problems emerged. 3 supply ships reported they were missing critical fuel shipments. 2 dreadnoughts had navigation systems that weren't working properly. One entire squadron received orders to remain at the base, then received contradicting orders to deploy. "What's happening?" Venkar demanded. "Why isn't my fleet ready?" "Sir, we're experiencing system-wide communication issues," his aide explained. "Nothing major, just small glitches. We're working to resolve them. How long?" "Maybe a few days." Venkar slammed his fist down. Days. They couldn't afford days. Every moment of delay gave the humans more time to prepare. He didn't know that this was exactly what the humans wanted. Every hour the Vixtar spent fixing problems was an hour humanity spent getting ready. And while the Empire struggled with logistics and communications, human strike teams were hitting more targets. General Kiwu led one of those teams. The Ghost Battalion, they called themselves. 20 soldiers in advanced combat suits, boarding a Vixtar supply station using nothing but magnetic grapples and suits that could survive in vacuum. They didn't arrive in ships. They arrived like meteors, each soldier in a drop pod launched from a hidden position. The station's sensors never saw them coming. Kiwu's boots mag-locked to the station's hull. His heads-up display showed enemy positions inside. "Team 1, take the reactor." "Team 2, command center." "Team 3, with me. We're hitting the supply stores." They cut through the hull with plasma torches. The station's crew didn't realize anything was wrong until Ghost Battalion was already inside, moving through corridors like shadows. The fighting was brief and brutal. Vixtar soldiers were tough, but they'd never faced human special forces. Within 20 minutes, the station was secured. "Plant the charges," Kiwu ordered. "We leave in 5 minutes." They rigged the station's reactor to overload, set a timer, and evacuated. From a safe distance, they watched the station explode in a flash of light. "Another supply line cut," Kiwu reported. Colonel Hyun watched 300 alien warships approach the moon. They moved in a perfect formation like they were on parade. Beautiful and deadly. They probably thought Earth had nothing that could hurt them. They were wrong. Distance? Hyun asked. 200,000 kilometers and closing, replied Lieutenant Bora from the tracking station. They'll be in optimal range in 90 seconds. Hyun nodded. Around him, Luna Defense Station 7 hummed with power. The base was built inside a crater on the far side of the moon. From space, it looked like just another mining facility. The Vicstar had probably seen it in their scans and dismissed it. That was their first mistake. Sir, receiving authorization from Earth Command, said Communications Officer Daeho. General Jiho says you are cleared to engage at will. Tell the General thank you, Hyun said. He pressed his hand against the command panel. All stations, this is Colonel Hyun. For 200 years we've waited for this. For 200 years we've prepared. Today we show the galaxy what humanity can do. All weapons power to maximum. Target lock on the lead ships. On my mark, the station transformed. Panels that looked like solar collectors folded away, revealing weapon barrels the size of subway tunnels. What the aliens thought were communication arrays rotated, showing their true purpose as targeting systems. All across the moon's surface, hidden bases did the same. The Vicstar fleet detected the change. Alarms rang on their bridges. Commanders shouted orders, but they were still moving forward, still confident in their shields and armor. That was their second mistake. 60 seconds, Bora announced. Hyun looked at the tactical display. Each red dot represented an alien ship. Each blue dot represented a human weapon platform. The humans had more dots, many more. Kinetic accelerators charging, reported Weapons Officer Sunho. Directed energy weapons online. Missile batteries ready. All systems green. 30 seconds. On the Vicstar flagship, Warlord Thexol watched his fleet advance. This would be easy. These humans had barely left their own planet. What could they possibly have that would challenge the might of the Imperium? He was about to find out. 10 seconds, Bora said. Hyun took a breath. This was it. The moment that would change everything. First contact, first battle. And if they won first victory against an alien empire, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire everything, Hyun said calmly. Luna Defense Station 7 unleashed hell. Kinetic accelerators launched tungsten rods the size of telephone poles at 30% the speed of light. They crossed the distance to the alien fleet in less than 2 seconds. The aliens' shields, designed to stop energy weapons and missiles, did nothing against solid metal moving at relativistic speeds. The rods punched through shields like they weren't there, then through armor, then through the ships themselves. 3 alien warships simply exploded. 5 more lost main power. 2 began spinning out of control. Before the Vicstar could react, the directed energy weapons fired. Lasers powered by fusion reactors, each one capable of boiling away oceans, focused on alien shields. The shields held for maybe 3 seconds. Then they failed, and the lasers cut into ship hulls like hot knives through butter. And then the missiles arrived. Not slow, stupid chemical rockets. These were hunter-killer missiles with AI brains, moving at speeds that would flatten a human from acceleration alone. They dodged alien defensive fire, worked together like wolf packs, found weak points, and struck. The Vicstar fleet tried to fight back. They fired their own weapons. Energy beams and plasma bolts crossed space toward the moon. But human defensive systems had been designed by people who'd spent centuries developing countermeasures. Point defense lasers intercepted projectiles. Shield generators scattered energy beams. Decoy systems fooled targeting computers. And the human weapons kept firing. Enemy losses at 30% and climbing. Bora reported, her voice amazed. Sir, they're breaking formation. Stay on them, Hyun ordered. Don't let them regroup. All batteries continue fire. On the Vicstar flagship, chaos ruled. Officers screamed conflicting orders. Damage reports flooded in faster than anyone could process. Warlord Thexol stared at his tactical display in horror as his fleet died. Shields. Why aren't our shields working? He roared. They're using kinetic weapons, sir. Solid projectiles. Our shields were never designed for... An explosion cut off the officer. The flagship shook. Lights flickered. We need to retreat, shouted the helmsman. We've lost over half the fleet. Thexol's pride warred with his survival instinct. They were the Vicstar Imperium. They didn't run. They'd never run. But his fleet was being destroyed. In 6 minutes of combat, these primitive humans had done what no enemy had done in 50,000 years. All ships retreat, Thexol finally ordered. Emergency jump! Get us out of here! The surviving Vixtar ships turned and ran. Their faster-than-light drives charged, bending space around them. They jumped away, fleeing back to Imperial space. But humanity wasn't done. Sir, enemy fleet is retreating, Bora said. Launch the interceptors, Hyun ordered. We need survivors to send a message. From hidden bays on Earth's moon, fighter craft launched. They were small, fast, and piloted by humans who'd trained in simulators for years. Leading them was Commander Yuna, Earth's best pilot. All wings, this is Hawk Leader. Yuna's voice crackled over the radio. Targets are running. Stay on them. Don't let them forget this day. Her fighter was sleek and black, barely 20 meters long but packed with weapons. It accelerated faster than any alien ship could track. Within seconds, she was among the retreating Vixtar fleet. Fox 3, she called, launching missiles. They streaked toward an alien cruiser. Impact in 3, 2, 1. The cruiser's engines exploded. It tumbled through space, dead. All around her, other human fighters engaged. They moved like dancers, like this was choreographed. Every shot counted. Every movement had purpose. This was what 200 years of preparation looked like. The Vixtar had numbers and size. But humans had speed, precision, and something the Empire had never encountered. Pilots who'd been playing combat simulators since they were children, treating war like it was the most important game in the universe. Enemy flagship is charging jump drive, called another pilot. Should we stop them? Negative, Yuna replied. She moved her fighter alongside the massive flagship, close enough that she could see its viewports. Let them go. I want to make sure they see us first. She activated her fighter's spotlight, illuminating her craft. Let them see. Let them remember. Let them tell their empire what happened when they attacked Earth. The Vixtar flagship jumped away. Of the 300 ships that had attacked, only 13 made it home. Back on Luna Defense Station 7, Colonel Hyun watched the last enemy signals disappear from his screen. The command center was silent. Then someone started clapping. Then someone else. Within seconds, everyone was cheering. Sir, Earth Command is calling, Daeho said, smiling wide. General Jiho wants to speak with you. Hyun accepted the call. Jiho's face appeared on screen and he was grinning. Nicely done, Colonel. Very nicely done. Thank you, sir. Orders? Bring the defense grid to standby mode. They'll be back, but not right away. They need to go home and explain how they lost a fleet to a species they thought was primitive. Jiho's grin faded. This was just the opening move. The real war starts now, Hyun nodded. He understood. They'd won the first battle, but the Vixtar Empire controlled 10,000 star systems. They had resources humanity couldn't match. This fight was far from over, but for now Earth had proven something important. They weren't helpless. They weren't primitive, and they definitely weren't going to surrender. Commander Yuna's fighter landed on Luna Base 3. She climbed out, removed her helmet, and looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, an empire was learning that humanity was dangerous. Good, she thought. Let them learn. Let them worry. Let them understand what it means to pick a fight with Earth. The war had begun, and humanity was ready. The alien ship appeared over Earth without warning. It was massive, bigger than any city, and it blocked out the sun over half of North America. Within minutes, every military base on the planet went to high alert. Sirens wailed in dozens of languages. People ran through streets looking up at the metal monster floating in their sky. General Jiho stood in the command center deep beneath Geneva. Screens covered every wall, showing data from satellites, defense platforms, and military installations across the globe. His hands rested calmly on the strategy table, even as junior officers around him shouted orders and ran between stations. Sir, they're broadcasting a message, said Lieutenant Sora, her fingers flying across her console. It's in every language. They must have been studying us, Ma. Put it through, Jiho said. The main screen flickered. An alien face appeared. Tall and angular with silver skin and 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. It wore what looked like ceremonial armor covered in symbols that probably meant something important to its species. Humans of Earth, the alien said, its voice translated by some technology into perfect English. I am Ambassador Kelthorn of the Vixtar Imperium. We have observed your primitive civilization and found you unworthy of independence. You will surrender your planet within 48 hours. Comply and you will be allowed to serve the Empire. Resist and you will be eliminated. The screen showed images of alien fleets destroying other worlds. Cities burned, ships exploded, Entire planets turned to glass under orbital bombardment. The message was clear: obey or die. You have 2 days. Kelthorn continued. We will return for your answer. Choose wisely. The transmission ended. The command center fell silent. Every person in the room stared at the blank screen, processing what they had just heard. This was it. First contact with alien life, and they wanted Earth to surrender. Then General Jiho started laughing. It wasn't a nervous laugh or a crazy laugh. It was genuine amusement, the kind that comes from hearing something absurd. He put one hand over his face and shook his head, shoulders moving with suppressed chuckles. Sir? Lieutenant Sora looked confused and worried. Are you okay? Admiral Minji entered the command center at that moment. She was older than Jiho, with gray hair tied back in a strict bun and a face that had seen 40 years of military service. She glanced at the recording of the alien message playing on a secondary screen, then looked at Jiho. They actually did it, she said. After all these years of preparation, someone finally declared war on us. And then she started laughing too. Within seconds, other senior officers joined in. Not all of them, but enough that the junior staff began to look around in confusion and worry. Had their commanders lost their minds? Someone get Ambassador Kelthorn back on the line, Jiho said, wiping his eyes. I need to ask him something. It took 5 minutes to establish a connection. The alien ambassador appeared on screen again. His 4 eyes narrowed in what might have been anger. You dare to contact us before the deadline? Kelthorn demanded. This is highly irregular. I have a question, Jiho said, still smiling. When you were studying us, did you study our history? We reviewed your technological development, your primitive weapons, your divided nations. Why does this matter? Did you study our wars? Kelthorn's expression changed slightly. Your small conflicts between tribes? Why would we waste time on such things? Jiho's smile faded. He leaned forward and his voice became very serious. Ambassador, in the last 3,000 years, humans have fought approximately 15,000 wars. We've developed more ways to kill each other than you have words in your language. We've split atoms to make bombs. We've engineered diseases as weapons. We've created machines that can calculate 1 million deaths before breakfast. He paused, letting that sink in. We stopped fighting each other 200 years ago. Do you know why? Because you matured as a species, Kelthorn said, though he sounded less certain now. No, Admiral Minji said, stepping next to Jiho. We stopped because we detected your empire. We saw your ships, your colonies, your expansion pattern, and we realized that one day someone would come to Earth, so we decided to prepare. For 200 years, Jiho continued, every weapon we designed, every ship we built, every soldier we trained had one purpose: to be ready for this exact moment. We've been waiting for someone like you. Kelthorn's 4 eyes widened. You're bluffing. We've conquered 10,000 worlds. We've never lost a war in 50,000 years of Imperial history. Then today will be a very educational experience for you, Jiho said. You have 48 hours to leave our system. We won't ask twice. He cut the transmission. The command center exploded with activity. Officers ran to their stations. Screens lit up with tactical displays. The defense grid powered up, drawing energy from fusion reactors scattered across the moon and Mars. They won't leave, Minji said quietly. They're too proud. I know, Jiho replied. Signal all fleets. Bring Luna defense to full power. Activate the orbital platforms. And someone wake up Colonel Hyun. He's about to have a very busy day. Above Earth, the alien ship waited. Inside, Warlord Thexel received Ambassador Kelthorn's report with disbelief and rage. They refused. Thexel's voice echoed through the flagship's bridge. These primitives dare to refuse the Vixtar Imperium? Sir, the human general seemed confident. Perhaps we should investigate their defenses before— No! Thexel slammed his fist on the command console. We will teach these animals their place. Prepare the assault fleet, 300 ships. We'll reduce their cities to ash and see how confident they are then. But sir, the standard protocol is to— I don't care about protocol. Launch the assault. The alien fleet moved into position. 300 warships, each larger than a skyscraper, descended toward Earth's moon. Their shields glowed with power. Their weapons charged. Every captain expected an easy victory. On Luna Defense Station 7, Colonel Hyun watched the approaching fleet on his tactical display. He was young for a colonel, only 35, but he'd trained for this moment since he was 18. His fingers moved across the controls, bringing weapons online. "Sir, they're crossing the warning line," said his weapons officer. "Good," Yun said calmly. "Let them come a little closer. I want to make sure we don't miss." The alien fleet continued forward, confident and powerful. They had no idea what was about to happen. They had no idea that humanity had been preparing for exactly this. And they had no idea that General Jiho's laughter had been the last mercy they would receive. The war was about to begin, and the Vixtar Empire was about to learn why, in all of human history, the most dangerous thing you could do was make humanity angry.